Hey tubes, how's it going? Yeah, okay, so this is the 5th day in a row that I've made videos. Sorry if I'm clogging up your inbox. Firstly, yeah, thank you very much to people who responded to my seek for the meaning of life on Friday night, last night. Sorry, I'm kind of greasy. I look like I was a bit worse for wear last night, which I was. And to the people PMing me worried that I'm going to hurt myself, don't worry about it. My self-harm days are long past, and the likelihood is I would commit myself before committing suicide. So thank you very much, especially to the 2 video responses. It meant a lot to me. So I was going to talk about sexuality and gender, because it seems to me that the 2 concepts get kind of intermingled a lot of the time when they really are 2 completely separate and distinct concepts, and it's annoying to me. So kind of brief definitions. Gender is how you in your mind identify as masculine or feminine. You can be physically male and identify as your gender being female, your gender being feminine. In which case, of course, you are transgender, because your sex and your gender don't match. It just really annoys me that so much of the time gender is taken as a kind of as an indicator of sexuality. For instance, I'm wearing my shirt today. I get in moods sometimes where I like to wear clothes that might be seen as traditionally male, right down to kind of braces, suspenders, and a tie, and I have short hair and that kind of crap. And people are always saying, "Oh, you're such a dyke. You're so gay." And it's just like upsetting to me because, I'm not upset because people are calling me gay, because what kind of an insult is that? And I am actually bisexual anyway. But that's not the point. The point is, gender and sexuality are 2 totally distinct concepts. Sexuality is your sexual attraction to, whatever sex of people that you're attracted to. Gender is how you mentally identify as masculine or feminine, or a third gender, which is known as being genderqueer. I personally consider myself to be genderqueer. I don't think of myself in my mind as a female. I think of myself as a person, and I don't feel like that I have to behave in a certain way because my sex is female. Or I don't identify with the heroine in films and not the hero, because I'm female. Or so anyway, yeah, it's something that kind of really annoys me because because I don't struggle whatsoever with my sexuality, but I do struggle quite deeply with my gender. For instance, like the agency I work for, I've got on their thing, they have like an equal rights quota thing where you fill out, and they asked me what my sexuality was, and I told them I was bisexual, and quite happy to be known as bisexual if people are at all interested. But I don't feel that I can come out as genderqueer at work. For work I dress reasonably in a reasonably feminine style. And what I'd really like to wear to work is a shirt and tie. But I know that this won't be taken in the way that I would want it to be taken. Because my body is female, if I wear a shirt and tie, I'm either playing on a kind of... I'll be seen as being overtly sexualized, basically. I'll be seen as having either dressed myself up as a kind of schoolgirl or a dominatrix. And that really isn't the case. The case is that I don't like looking around the office and seeing the men wearing shirts and ties and seeing the women wearing low-cut V-neck tops and that sort of stuff, and being kind of lumped in with the women. And I don't think of myself as male, as a man. In my gender is not a man. But I don't like being constrained to the female dress code. And I really don't feel like I'm able to kind of come out as genderqueer at work, and I do kind of just concede to the norms because I have to get along with these people and I have to work with them day after day, and really probably no one gives a fuck. But also people stare at me when I walk down the street in those type of clothes. And clothes are they're a projection of kind of how you see yourself and how you would like other people to see you. And I'd really like for myself to be something normal and not something that gets stared at as I walk down the street. But I can't win, because if I dress in a female manner, I get stared at anyway because I'm getting checked out, either favourably or not so. Yeah, I'd really like people to make a kind of clear distinction in their mind of what sexuality is, i.e. the people that you are attracted to, and what gender is, how you identify in your mind with, masculinity or femininity or an androgynous personality mix. And it's just not accurate to look at a woman dressed in what you might think of as a kind of masculine or an agendered way, and assume that she's gay or bisexual. I've spent time on the gay scene, and there's a very, very eclectic mix of both styles and gender identities in the gay community. You'll get lots of genderqueer people in gay clubs. You'll also get lots of very feminine lesbians and lots of very masculine lesbians, and they're both spectrums. Sexuality and gender are both spectrums, and it's like where you find yourself on both spectrums, and the two are not interrelated. And it's tied in with ideas of kind of dominant masculinity as well. Men who are seen as less masculine are also seen as kind of gay, and this is seen as a kind of derogatory thing. And what it comes down to really is a kind of prizing of a straight male norm in society, and being female is even a deviation from that norm. Before we even start thinking about gender, we even talk about sex, and sexuality. Being a straight male is really the most acceptable stance. After that, you're the other as a female. This is demonstrated in everything. It's demonstrated in our language. It's, the way that if we're talking about when we say the scientist will do this, we'll say he, and we don't mean necessarily that the scientist is male. We mean we're talking about a non-sexually specific person. But he is the norm. I really appreciate thinkers, academics who make an effort to say the scientist, she will do this. It's not ideal to have women as the kind of norm either. But at this point, we need the tide to turn, and we need to start implementing these kind of ideas in language in people's minds. And once that's occurred more, we'll be able to say it or they as the kind of grammatically correct way to refer. I mean, there are lots and lots of ways that we could show that straight male masculinity is the norm in society. For instance, have you ever noticed that men's magazines are geared towards kind of an objectification of women and giving men supposedly what real men want, naked women, and female magazines are geared towards and why do we even have male and female magazines? It's so fucked up. Female magazines are geared more towards making yourself look like the men would like you to look. So all of that media is geared towards making women, kind of shaping women into what men want and giving men what they want. And that's fine. I want men to have what they want, but I don't want my existence as a female to give men what they want. My existence as a female is to develop myself intellectually and hopefully bring some kind of progress about in the world and produce things creatively and put myself out there. It's not to satisfy the whims of straight men. Anyway, I've waffled on for long enough. I'd be interested to know what you think. about this kind of crossover that we seem to have between sexuality and gender, and whether or not I'm missing something. And I hope you're having a good day.